And now, the general weather around Alaska.
Welcome to Alaska Weather. I'm meteorologist Peter Chan, coming to you from the National Weather Service on this Sunday, March 3rd, 2024. And if you'd like additional weather information on top of what I provide in this YouTube video, you can go to weather.gov, and that'll bring you to the Weather Service's online presence. It'll bring you to a page of the continental U.S. with Hawaii and Alaska to the lower left, and then tabs for the various territories, and this allows you to pull up a forecast for anywhere in the nation. You can check up on the weather where family and friends are, or if you're planning to do some traveling. We have this Sunday afternoon pretty serious fire weather situation across the center of the country. You probably have heard about in the news the large Texas wildfires. One in particular, the Smokehouse Fire, has consumed over 1.2 million acres, making it the largest wildfire in Texas history. It's severely impacted cattle ranching there, even devastated some small towns. And we have these critical fire weather conditions from areas of South Dakota, Nebraska, all the way into Iowa, down into Texas, where we expect temperatures way above normal, 60s, 70s, with winds gusting 35 to as high as 50 miles an hour, and relative humidities, very dry conditions, down as low as 5 to 15%. We're still seeing winter storm warnings, Colorado, Rockies, and back here through areas of the lower Cascades, Sierra Nevada. Parts of the Sierra Nevada may end up with as much as 12 feet of snow, and the potential for wind gusts as high as 190 miles per hour along some of the peak ridge lines there. So very extreme blizzard conditions there. I spoke with my brother around the Tahoe area, and they've had at least 3-4 feet of snow, and its periods of additional snow will likely continue at least into Wednesday morning there. Here in Alaska, we do have some snow and blowing snow, but it is of a much lighter variety, maybe 1 to 3 inches of snow falling tonight into Tuesday morning along areas of the west-southwest coast, and some of that snow is going to be pushing further inland across the interior, but it should remain on the lighter side. A more active pattern, though, will be spreading back up into the Gulf this week after a relatively quiet stretch of weather, especially over the Panhandle this weekend. And just to note, last quarter moon occurred this Sunday morning, so new moon will occur next Sunday, March 10th. And there's also going to be another push of Arctic air heading south across the mainland, especially down along the west side of the state, starting late this week around Friday through the upcoming weekend. And this could bring another round of much below normal temperatures, especially to the west side of the state here in the coming 6 to 10 day outlook. So looking at some of the FAA webcams this afternoon, Northway had the state's low temperature this morning, 36 below zero. Temperatures come back up 30 degrees as of early afternoon at 5 below. We have some cirrus. There's a hint of a sundog there in the image. And then Unalakleet there along the east side of Norton Sound, getting snow and fog, temperature at 12 degrees with a brisk east-northeast wind gusting around 25 miles an hour. West arm of the Alaska Range, Lake Clark Pass, the west side there, seeing an increase in cloud cover. Some snow and lower ceilings will be moving into there tonight and into Monday morning. And then in the Panhandle, Hoonah last week got quite a dump of snow, but seeing mostly sunny skies. You can see the snow on the ground. Temperature there, 21 degrees. The Panhandle has enjoyed most areas sunny skies, but some brisk outflow winds in areas. And because of those outflow winds, there still is a wind chill advisory for tonight into tomorrow morning for White Pass and Klondike Highway. Wind chills tonight could be as low as 40 below zero. But most of the action now is out along the west coast. We have areas here around and inland of Bristol and Kuskokwim Bays for some additional lighter snow and blowing snow as we go through late tonight and into Monday. Winter weather advisories continue through at least Monday morning till about noontime around Norton Sound, the lower Yukon Delta, as well as St. Lawrence Island and areas east side of Kotzebue Sound. And we expect these areas of lighter snow to spread inland across the interior as we go through the early part of the week, because the storm pattern is going to begin, is starting to change up now. So we've had high pressure all weekend long sitting here over northwest Canada. It's provided the cold outflow winds across the Panhandle, but relatively quiet weather there, and even in through the southeast and eastern interior. But we have one initial front that's come in that's kind of washing out. That's what brought an initial wave of snow. And here comes the next one. There's low pressure sitting out here in the western southwest part of the Bering Sea, and the front arcing out ahead of it. This next one's going to be pushing up into the southwest coast very late tonight, and especially during the day Monday. And the moisture from this will also be spreading inland across the interior as we go through early and midweek. And eventually there's going to be another piece of energy come up out of the North Pacific and up into the Gulf Tuesday into Wednesday. We have one kind of secondary low trying to get organized. That one will move off to the northeast into the western Gulf, and then that other system will catch up with it, and they'll kind of combine forces. So here we have this next system pushing into the southwest coast, more unstable, showery conditions out there back through the western half of the Aleutians. And as we take a look at today's weather map, still high pressure there, northwest and northern Canada, center pressure above 1,030 millibars, a lagging trough from the last system that came through, still around Haida Gwaii into the southeastern portion of the Gulf. These troughs here are what is left of a front that pushed into the southwest this week, earlier this weekend. Now here comes the next system with another band of mainly light snow and gusty winds, but as that does move onshore tonight and through Monday morning, we do expect areas of 1 to 3 inches of snow with some gusty winds blowing snow. The snow mounts could be a little bit higher, especially as you get inland from Kuskokwim and Bristol Bays. So late tonight into Monday morning, there comes that front right up along the southwest coast. The low sits back out here toward the central western Bering. Secondary low develops just on southwest of Kodiak Island, and by the time we get into Monday afternoon, we expect the low to be sitting out here in the western Gulf. Still high pressure holding up there in northwest Canada, but that'll begin to break down a bit here as we go through the Tuesday into Wednesday. So here's that secondary low developing in the southwestern Gulf Monday afternoon. We have some much colder air sitting up along the Canadian Arctic coast, and that's going to sit up there through a good part of this week before it breaks free and begins to send colder air back down along the west side of the state. So here's that low out in the Bering Sea, and it will kind of sit and spin out there, maybe weaken a bit. Here comes the next development of low pressures in the Gulf. Here's the first secondary low, and then there's the next one that came up out of the North Pacific. That's going to spread more precipitation in through the Panhandle. Tuesday night into Wednesday would be the best chance of any accumulating snows, but nevertheless, more active pattern sets up here. We have the Arctic air sitting off to the north, poised to make a dive south-southwestward as we get toward the end of this upcoming week into next weekend. And we'll talk about that in just a second. Looking at temperatures, though, cold across the Panhandle, single digits in the north, teens, Outer Banks, and as we still have some low temperatures, 15 below in the Copper River Basin, we are going to see some increase in cloud cover, so that prevents the temperature drop. And then as that milder air tries to come in from the southwest, we'll see temperatures upper 20s to near 30 up toward Anchorage Bowl, above freezing Homer, down through the Alaska Peninsula, Kodiak City, and then back out here through the Panhandle. Still on the cool side, highs only in the lower 20s in the north and maybe near 30 Ketchikan out toward Klawak and Craig. And Tuesday morning with some cloud cover around, not as cold, temperatures coming back up into the 20s. Still some readings down around or just above 10 degrees in the northern Panhandle at Juneau up to Skagway. And temperatures should start to come back up a little bit with that frontal system beginning to push onshore, and then precipitation developing later Tuesday here across the Panhandle. Back up through areas of the Kenai Peninsula, Anchorage Bowl, Talkeetna, we could see temperatures back up around freezing here by Tuesday afternoon. In the far north, as I mentioned this morning, this Sunday morning, Northway was 36 below. We're not expecting readings to be quite that cold, but the cold air is going to kind of hug here along the Alcan border and in the far north along the Arctic coast. Temperatures will moderate around Norton Sound, and as you go down the Yukon River Valley, temperatures Monday afternoon could be up near freezing in some areas. Unalakleet, all the way down towards St. Mary's, and even Nome could be up near freezing. And then temperatures not as cold along the Alcan border, but notice here in the North Slope Arctic coast, some 20 below zero readings. This is a hint of the cold air that's just going to kind of sit up here back through the Canadian Arctic coastline. That's going to begin to head driving southwestward as we get toward the end of the weekend next weekend. And temperatures Tuesday afternoon, as we've had that front work its way inland with some moisture, it moderates the temperatures back up to near 30 degrees, creeping up the Kuskokwim and Yukon river valleys. May even be able to get a little downslope to help out temperatures around Fairbanks. Looking along the southwest coast, temperatures steady to slowly rising tonight into Monday morning, and then come Monday afternoon, there could be a number of areas, Bethel, Dillingham, getting above freezing by a couple degrees. Temperatures generally above freezing, say upper 30s to near 40 along the Alaska Peninsula and eastern Aleutians. Tuesday morning, temperatures generally above 20 across much of the southwest interior. And we would expect temperatures again come Tuesday afternoon to be back up near freezing on the west side of the Alaska Range, and then above freezing as you tail out down here along the Alaska Peninsula into the Aleutian chain. So this is what I want to show you, because we've been advertising this for some time, that as we approach mid-month, March 9th through the 13th, centered on the 11th, so that's next weekend into early the following week, we expect below to much below normal temperatures across the western portion of the mainland into the Alaska Peninsula, because what we think is going to happen is this batch of Arctic air is going to drop southwestward. Meanwhile, it pulls a little milder air out ahead of it into British Columbia and the lower portion of the panhandle. You get a low here. Any low pressures that spin out in this region are going to try to pull back toward the northwest, toward the colder air. So this could definitely lend toward a more active pattern. We'll have to see how it actually unfolds as we get closer to that time frame. But certainly expect no warm-ups here across much of the mainland. And with this type of flow, that cold northeasterly flow, drier conditions along the west coast. That just is a given. But areas from Anchorage to Northway, especially the southeast mainland and in through the panhandle, could see precipitation average above normal for this period, which a number of spots have had a lot of snow already this winter. So it'll be interesting to see if we could get a significant snowfall back toward Anchorage that could potentially push the snowfall totals up toward record territory for the winter season.